Welcome to Rising Woman Leaders. I'm your host, Meredith Ram, and I believe the time has come for women to share their gifts, their voice, and their stories. I love seeing women spiritually and financially empowered, thriving in their life's work, and doing what they love every day. I've gathered a community of women living their dreams to tell us their stories and inspire us to step into more courage, self-love, and feminine leadership. If you like this podcast, use the hashtag Rising Woman Leaders, follow me on Instagram at Meredith Ram, and sign up for email updates at risingwomanleaders.com to get all the new and inspiring content. Now get cozy with a journal and a cup of tea. I hope you enjoy today's show. I'm here today with Sabrina Riccio, Shiv Inder Kaur. She is the internationally known soulistic alchemist and spirit guide behind Shamanessa Goddessa. Catalyzing and anchoring a conscious paradigm shift, Sabrina's work empowers souls to reclaim their power by being real, being authentic, and embracing vulnerability. Sabrina believes we anchor the sacred reunion of the divine masculine and divine feminine within by learning to honor and transmute our shadows through the practice of unconditional self-love and through radical forgiveness. She's also the host of the Sovereign Goddess podcast, helping medicine women and goddesspreneurs build their queendom with grace. Sabrina also offers e-courses and Kundalini yoga meditation experiences to help people cultivate a daily practice. Thanks for being here, Sabrina.
Thanks for having me. I just wanted to say congrats on your book before we even get going, because I'm so proud of you. That's like the next thing I want to add on that little bio.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad that I got to send you a copy of it. And
yes.
Have it in your home and in your hands.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to start by saying I was always drawn to your Instagram when I first found you. Just there was such, like you were said in your bio, the authenticity and the vulnerability and just no shame about, sharing about our past, sharing about the things that are true for us. And I feel like that has just been so uplifting and really appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a journey for me to release shame, right? Mm-hmm. Because that is what's holding us back from living our authentic and highest truth. And it's just something that's in the mind. And when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and real and authentic, that is where genuine connection comes from, right? And it's because when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we give permission for others to do that too. And when we're in our space of vulnerability and authenticity, that's when we're able to be in alignment and share our highest self. So to me, it's been, it took a long time for me to show my face, even on social media. I took a 3-year sabbatical. And after I was struck by lightning and had a really difficult psychedelic experience, I just completely shut off to heal myself. Because all the stuff was coming up and I was like, okay, I know I'm here to do bigger work, but in order to do that, I need to fill up my cup. And the biggest thing that allowed me to fill up my cup is to honor the journey that I was on and to trust the process. And to me, allowing myself to be authentic and real has been working. So it's really allowed me to step into my truth and watch this beautiful unfolding of my life really come out. So we've been friends for a while on the Instagram.
Yeah. Okay, so I just want to dive right into the struck by lightning experience. This just, I want to hear all of what was this like? How did this happen?
Okay, so when I got struck by lightning, I was on a path that was so. It was not the best. It was the first time, it was 3 months after I had my difficult LSD experience, because it was all of my inner child stuff that came off. I didn't feel like I was in a very safe environment. And all this stuff came up for me that I needed to address, because I grew up super depressed, like dealing with death since the age of 3 and coming from like a very large family. There's always death, 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 death. So it's allowed me to be able to be like a good counselor today for people that are like dying off certain things in their lives to be able to have the rebirth. So I'm super grateful for it. But I was going down a really destructive path. Like I was using my light and my energy to like fight back and be combative about like the system and all these other things, blah, blah, blah. And then I was also chasing things rather than allowing things to come to me. And so it was the day I was moving back to San Diego after I graduated college and got struck. My dog was with me. And at first, because I was also driving and I had a hybrid, and a month before, like a year before, I was in a car accident. And so I think there was like a short in the car that just made me really attractive in that way or whatever, but it came through. And at the time, like you're still just trying to process what's going on. And it wasn't until like my nervous system essentially was shot from it. And because of my nervous system being all freaked out from the amount of like abuse I was using with different drugs and lack of sleep and not really taking care of myself and pretty much avoiding the things that I needed to address in order for me to have this rebirth and this alignment, I needed to be struck. I have to reset, you know?
Yeah.
And it was really scary for a while. I mean, this was around 2012. So I was like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Oh, you know, like all of that. But to me, that was the end of that world that I was living in. It really was the end of that world for me. And so I took a 3-year sabbatical. I traveled to Thailand for 2 months. I went to Bali. I became a life coach. Like I just took that time to take care of me because the rest of my life, I've always been taking care of everyone else, from dealing with death with a family or just like being part of a big family and being like the loud one. So this was a time for me to heal myself. And for me to really step into alignment, because at the time I was also in the music industry and it wasn't the right fit for me. Like while I still am in the music industry today, I'm going to play a very different role being a yoga teacher at festivals. So I'm helping bring in this consciousness and helping people set the intention and let loose and heal and release before they go out and on their journey at these festivals. And it was a true testament, this last one, when I saw it in Oregon. And I also think like that lightning struck allowed me to like fry my nervous system so that I can really be that conduit to hold space for, you know, like the 500 people or whatever that show up to these classes at these festivals. And it's like, I'm there to hold space and to see them, but also because I've been able to fill myself up with that amount of depth, it's flowing over, you know? And so it's been, you know, it was really tough going through it. But it was 5 years like last week. And I don't even like know, I know that person back then. I love her and I care for her, but like, I can't even imagine where I would be if I continued on that path. So God obviously had a bigger plan for me.
Wow. Sometimes we need to be woken up kind of abruptly like that.
Yeah. Stay woke, right?
Yeah. And you took that time for yourself to go inward and to heal and to call for that.
Yeah, I've never, up until then, like I never really practiced self-care. Like I was mad at God for a long time because like I dealt with a lot of death, like I said, and I didn't know how to get out of that depression. Like I was in a serious depression for over 10 years. And so it was just my wake-up call for sure. That was like, all right, you have a bigger purpose than what you're doing here. Your needs will be met. You have to be able to listen to the guidance that's happening right now and to surrender it and trust.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's coming to me, because I'm imagining you teaching this yoga to 500 people at a festival, something like this, Kundalini yoga, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Festivals. From my experience of like having that much energy directed towards me, of all eyes on me, it can actually feel like a really like almost like lightning moving through the body kind of experience of just such, powerful energy. And one shift that I've made lately around this is like that energy in the body is actually my power. And my body's like raising up its energy to meet the people who are there. And like, I just want to hear about your experience with teaching and how that energy and how you use that energy in your body.
Oh my God. First of all, I love that description. Oh, that's so good, Meredith. Yes. Okay. So when I was at Oregon Eclipse, I taught my alchemy sessions, which is my signature Kundalini yoga and sound bath kind of experience. But this time I had my friends Feather and Dot, Sanjay and Hargo come with me because we're all burners. We're all part of the Burning Man community. And we like to call ourselves like these Kundalini rebels, right? I mean, I still wear white when I teach, but I didn't have like my head covering because I had my crown on. And we still honor the traditions, but we also make it relevant for today. So we're using a lot of these sacred mantras, but like they're creating more of like electronic vibe, which is really great for that setting because that's already a lot of the environment. So it's very relatable in that way. And so when I found out I was going to be teaching, I was like, okay, I know I need to knock it out of the park. So I asked them to join me like super last minute. And it just flowed. Like being up there, it didn't even look like a sea of people for me because it was like me in my element. I'm a Leo rising and a Gemini sun. So it's like I love that. And even my Virgo moon is super nurturing in that way. So I can hold space for a lot of people. Like the amount of people that came up after the class and telling me about the breakthroughs and the things that they had from the class, I was like, okay, this is why I do it. Because a lot of times you can be kind of put off from like all the people wearing white and all the turbans and all these things, especially if you're first diving in. So to be able to see people for where they are and to make it relatable in a way, to offer the teachings while paying respect and honoring them, but still being able to make it relevant, I think that's where the real power came through. And so to be able to like look at this sea of people, I was just like, oh my God, I wasn't even expecting that much. But but at the same time, like if this is my calling, like the people will show, it's like when the teacher shows up, the student will arrive. And a lot of people have been, and you would be surprised, about 80% of the people that were in that class have done Kundalini yoga before. So that was really cool. And the fact that there's so much of like the Hatha Vinyasa and festivals. Like I'm going to Bhakti Fest this weekend out here in Joshua Tree, which is more the Hatha Vinyasa, but to be able to bring in Kundalini because it's like so weird and so funky and like the energy is real. Like I've had people come up to me saying they had like sexual traumas healed from that class, or people had like inner child, like, repressed emotion, things that needed to be released and healed and transmuted. Like people were crying in breakthroughs, people from all ages. And to just be able to bring the teachings, and I know I like Yogi Bhajan having my back, like, yes, because he taught Kundalini yoga in Woodstock. Like that was the first really like push that he had. And to me, that was just like, it was just a cycle, right? That's what Oregon Eclipse felt like to me. It felt like a Woodstock of today. Like we were all gathered together to celebrate the sun and the moon and all of these beautiful people from all over the world coming to this one space to send our light across the country. Because it started in Oregon, this eclipse, and we were able to just shoot off like a shooting star, all of the love to shower over, because there's all this connection and creativity. And like I said, just being up there, it was just like, just a channel. A lot of people, I'm sure you feel that way too. It's like sometimes when you're up there, like you don't feel like you're there. You're just this vessel. So that lightning also was like cleared me out to be able to be that pure vessel and to hold space and to see people for where they are and honor them, honor the crowd. So it feels right. It feels so good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you can tell that you're in alignment, and it sounds like what's coming to me is your legacy of love. And it's like when you're there, you're answering the call and the people are showing up, and there's a flow happening.
Right. Yeah, and Shivinder Kaur, which was the name that I was gifted when I became a yoga teacher, is the sacred lioness or the goddess who transcends negativity and creates a new world by embracing God's light.
Mm.
So that's what my name means. So that's my dharma on this planet. And to that was just like living proof of that, like embracing God's light, seeing people for where they are, no matter like their paths or their mistakes or wrongdoing, seeing people for where they are because of who they are, and who they are is that light.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, thanks.
Can you tell us the experience of watching the eclipse and what happened for you? What was like for you?
Okay. So watching the eclipse for me, I was by myself. I was by myself. I sat by this like dream catcher because that's like one of my totems and my talismans. And I sat there and I was just really ready to be in total alignment with and balanced with my masculine and feminine. I wrote poems down, like I wrote journals down. I woke up, I literally woke up and I was like, oh my God, I got to get ready because it was like 10 a.m. And so I woke up, I got ready. I danced a little bit just to let the energy move, and then everything shut down. There's also the earth harp that was playing. So this guy has this harp, and it's attached to the stage. And I performed with it at Lightning in a Bottle 2 years ago. I did the sound bowls with it. And so I went there to like really like, okay, this is me ready to set the intention for what's to come. Like I'm going to put my shooting star out there. So I was sitting by myself and someone was playing Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon from beginning to end. So I was like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I was sitting there writing, and then a couple of my girlfriends that I just met through that we have mutual friends came and sat with me. So it was this very beautiful like goddess energy together, because they're all talking to me earlier throughout the week about like, you know, I was like coaching them and like being there for them. So to be able to hold space with these like 3 other women there and like 30,000 other people by the lake in Oregon, as the eclipse came through, you could see stars at like 10 o'clock in the morning. And that in itself was stunning. And so I'm just writing my journal, pulling my cards, getting all my things ready to release and set my intention. And then when you see this like little black dot over the sun, it was just like, holy crap. Like this is so beautiful and so surreal and so insane. And like just to see it pitch black, the temperature dropped 30 degrees. It was breathtaking. And then what happened was I went, and there was like this one nation camp that they had, and they had all these different indigenous tribes from all over the world there, and they were all offering their sacred plant medicines of like tobacco and peyote and ayahuasca, and then also sage, whatever came from their indigenous area from the 4 corners of the world. They were there praying their songs and all dressed up in their regalia, just like so stunning and so beautiful that it was like, yes, like let's go back to the indigenous truth of who we are, that innate wisdom of what humanity is. But then after that, it was very heavy for me. It was really challenging for me. I got really sad. And so I ended up taking a shower, and I could just feel everything washing away. That felt like the rebirth for me. And it was just like the shower was blessed. It said on the sign on the shower, it's like blessed with love and gratitude. And so I'm just like chanting, water is life, water is life, water is life, as I'm washing away all of the impurities and allowing this blessing to fill in the holes that may be in my aura. Because that's what it felt like. It just felt like I snapped back to my priestess lineage. I saw myself like with Queen Isis and all of that. And it was just like, oh my God, like this is what's, this is what I needed to see. It's like for lifetimes, you know, I've been told who to love, what love's supposed to look like, how to love, you know, all of these limitations that have stopped me from allowing myself to be my fullest self in the highest benevolent, in alignment with the highest benevolent of truth and love and compassion. It just was like, oh my God, I just felt like a total rebirth coming over me from this eclipse and from the shadow. And it was so breathtaking and so like, it just lit me up. I was like, oh my God, I found the answer. This is what I've been waiting for. Like, this is me honoring my priestess lineage for so long that has been repressed by like this masculine kind of indoctrinated like way of being.
Oh, I just got full body chills. I feel that too. I mean, the moon representing the feminine was taking her place again, and that's what's happening in our culture and our collective. And I feel too the priestess energy just coming back so strongly, and the remembering and this altar that I just created a few days ago of Mary Magdalene. It's like, wow, coming to me, and so beautiful.
It's totally the rise of Mary Magdalene. Like, you know, for so long we've been all about Jesus, which is great. But the truth is we also have to honor Mary Magdalene too, because she was the one that anointed Jesus. Like, we grew up in a society that was so strong on the masculine presence because they wanted to, like, maybe even disempower women because they know how strong we are. But we're being able to tap back into them, being like, no, like, we are equals, and you all come from the goddess. Like, all come from women. All man comes from women. And so to be able to honor, that is part of honoring our innate truth, is to honor where we came from. And that's just the same thing about honoring our journey up into this point. That's honoring where we came from. It's all the same. As my grandfather would say, it's the same story, but different actors. There's the same motif that's flowing through with that. And that's why as we're waking up in this like space of enlightenment and waking up, it's just like, now there's no turning back.
Yeah. Yeah. Where would you say for people to start and look within themselves in this divine feminine, divine masculine healing and rebalancing?
How much is your self-care a top priority for you? Like, you have to be able to know your boundaries on when to say no thank you, and know when to say, like, I need to do this for me. I mean, I took a 3-year sabbatical, if not longer. Like, this is, since moving into my new house in Joshua Tree, I've came to the conclusion that I've been depressed for over 10 years. Straight up. And so part of my own healing is to be able to be willing to take the risk, to be willing to know your boundaries, to be willing to say no thank you, to be willing to do the work. Like, it's not going to happen overnight. Like, you can't just buy it. Like, you can't just buy a program and think it's going to work. You also have to do the work. Yeah. And so it's really allowing yourself to take the time for you, like solely you, and having that intention be for your well-being, not for any other kind of result from someone else. It's all about filling up your cup first. Like, that is part of being in that alignment, part of being in the flow.
Yeah. And I see that, and even just in some of our email communications, and when you asked to reschedule one of our calls, and I was just like, wow, it takes courage, I think, in a way to do that. And it gets easier as you create more space and you listen to your boundaries and listen to your body. But that was just such an act of like, okay, that gives me permission. Anytime I'm like going to do a podcast interview with someone and I'm not feeling well, I can ask to create more space with that.
Because you want to also be able to make sure that you're not even wasting each other's time, but that you are in alignment with your truth. If you're not feeling well, like after I get back from Oregon, I was so sick. And I wasn't feeling well. So I wouldn't have been able to be like this clear channel, this like vessel that I could be as if I were feeling better or feeling like aligned or happier or healthier, whatever those words may be, depending on the situation. Like, you need to make sure you're honoring yourself first, because if you don't honor yourself, they're not going to honor you. And you're going to be stepped around and things like that. So part of like standing your ground is to really respect and honor how you're truly feeling. And that takes courage, is to dive in and to see what we're feeling. Because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are really scared of feelings.
Mm. Yes. Yeah. Do you have anything more to say about that? Feeling our feelings?
About a feeling or feelings? I would say something that's been really coming through a lot for me is when I'm feeling like doubt, or I'm feeling insecure, or I'm feeling these like flashes with like mini paranoia episodes or whatever. I'm feeling those feelings because they want my love. I'm feeling those feelings because they want me, it wants me to slow down and to honor it for where it is, to tap into it, to breathe into it, and to say thank you to it, because those are all repressed parts of myself from either lifetimes or like my childhood or the journey up until now. So it's really important to be honest with your feelings. Like I'm the one that's like always crying. I'm always crying. Like I'm the emotional one all the time. Like everyone's like, oh, like, and especially at concerts and stuff, I'm the one that like everyone knows, don't talk to Sabrina. Like that's her in her element, and I'm crying. Like I allow my emotions to be out. But there's also like being able to honor those feelings of like, even when things are good, being able to honor like, wow, I feel really good right now. And because then we are able to foster more of that. But when we're feeling like the illness or the sadness or the doubt or the insecurity, we still need to feel it. Like we can't avoid it, because then it's just going to snowball bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's having the courage to really be able to face it and to feel it, and to know that like, it's normal. It's part of the balance, right? It's the yin and the yang. There's always some part of light in the darkness, and there's always a little part of the darkness in the light. That's how we find this equanimity going on in the world.
Yeah. Oh, so true. I want to hear about your house and your new place that you just moved into, and your experience of becoming a homeowner.
Oh my God. So, I had the intention of moving back to San Diego because a lot of my tribe lives there. I was teaching yoga out there in Encinitas, and I moved back to Palm Springs when my grandmother was ill. And it was a very challenging 2 years for me. And I got back. I was teaching at another festival in San Diego called Desert Hearts, and I was teaching there. I taught 3 classes, and I remember I came home to like decompress, and I just sat at home, and I was living at my parents' house because they lived across the street from my grandmother. And I remember I was at home, and my dad just like really like pushed my button, and I was like, "That's it, I'm done." And the thing is like for me to live in San Diego, I would have to rent, and it wasn't making sense, like for me financially, to move there to like settle. I always knew I wanted to come back to Joshua Tree. My goal was to move out here and to build this kind of like sacred space out here in like 5 years. But again, it's not up to me. It's God's plan, right? So I started looking at houses to rent here, because like you can rent a house for like super cheap. And it's beautiful. And I grew up in the semi-high desert. I grew up in Desert Hot Springs. So I grew up in like the water, like where there's like pure hot spring water and stuff like that, which is literally the other side of this mountain that's by my house, is my house, my childhood house. And so I just was like, you know what, I'm going to go, and I'm going to go look and rent these houses. And then I didn't tell my parents, my family, for like 3 days. So I was just so pissed. And they were like, why don't you look into buying? And I was like, oh my God, yeah. So that was me surrendering and trusting, like, okay, it's time for me to buy. And luckily houses are pretty affordable here compared to most of California. And looked for the house. Like a lot of houses like were not permitted or things like that. And this one house, what was told me was the fireplace. And to me, that's just like a gathering place, and it's the place, like the fire's burning. Like this is time for me to like get the stillness, because as I've become more increasingly sensitive, especially after the lightning accident and visiting John of God, and just my overall journey, I need more of the solitude and the quietness. So I bought my house. It was by far the most intense process of my life. Because it was also a very busy summer for me. Like I was leaving for Mexico for my birthday, and my friends were getting married, and I was a bridesmaid. I had 2 other girlfriends have babies this summer. One had twins. I just had a wedding this past weekend. So I knew like a lot of stuff was coming up. And I was in the middle of teaching Miraculous Living, my 6-week e-course that I was doing. So it was just like crazy. But I got approved, got the house. And then, I was here for like 2 weeks. I kind of set it up, and then I was gone to Oregon. So to be able to come back during this process, and now I can finally like chill out, because it was very challenging, like a lot of papers and a lot of emails back and forth. And it was just like, they say like the most exhausting thing is the home buying process, because it's just like, it's very draining and there's a lot going on. But it's like, to me, that draining was releasing all of the old stuff that I've held on to for so long about the idea of home, or like the idea of my place in the world. Like all of these things just completely washed away. And then so being able to have my decompression from Oregon in my new house, I was sick for a week, but I was able to put it together. And now so I'm really excited to be in the space of like community and the space of a lot of creativity and artistry and nature. Like it's so beautiful to look at my backyard and I can see stars and it's quiet again, which is really important for me.
Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. I mean, yeah, I can relate to, just as we are ascending, there is a heightened sensitivity that we sometimes begin to have, and having a stable home, and it sounds like being in nature like you are in the desert, it sounds really nourishing.
Yeah, I needed it because I've been moving back and forth. I've been moving since I was like 17. So for like over 11 years, I was moving like from my house in Desert Hot Springs. And then I was in my family's house for a year. And then I went off to college, and there was like moving in the dorms and like there just felt like no stability in my life. And that's what I really needed. So it feels good to like finally like breathe and settle and like really focus and hone in right now.
Yeah. And from my experience, like when I was traveling a lot and living in different homes every few months earlier in my 20s, and when I finally landed the place I am now, it's been almost 5 years. It's like so much began to flourish because I had the root chakra kind of more grounded, and especially, just being able to bring focus to business and on things I wanted to create.
Yeah, and I went to Mount Shasta after coming back from Oregon, which is like the root chakra of the world. So I essentially had a baptism in Castle Lake, and it was just like so moving. And so to me, that just felt like my root chakra, which is where most of my trauma was from my early childhood, from just like life, was just completely purified and washed away. And then to be able to come here and to be like clean, super grounded. Like I'm really looking forward to see how this all blooms and unfolds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say in your life is your edge right now? Like your own personal growth, what you're learning right now, what your edge is, what
I'm learning right now, what my edge is.
Maybe even like what's being asked of you.
What's being asked of me right now is to really step up. Like really step up. I'm like restructuring a lot right now with my business and my programs and myself. And so I'm really just I'm hearing like, stay authentic, stay real, like honor the journey, trust the process, slow down. I think slow down is the biggest thing for me right now. And when leaving the city and being able to come to a desert, it's really slowing down. And that's been the biggest thing for me, because that's also been part of the nervous system. So, I did a lot of trainings for a lot of years and all these things. And now it's really time to really like show up and to be of service and to unapologetically shine. Like this is the time for all of us to stop playing small. Like there's a lot of things going on. And the thing that's actually been really coming through for me today, I was actually thinking about it, was this term warrior, right? I want to stop being a warrior. I don't want to be a warrior anymore, because there's still war involved. right? So I'm working on shifting my perception to stop being a warrior and to start being more of, I don't even know what the word is yet, but that's what's been really coming to me today. It's just like, stop feeling like you need to fight everything. Like, be in that space of love. Like, see people for where they are. Stop fighting. Like, all this stuff that's going on right now is just distracting us. It's just a distraction, right? And so I'm very aware. I'm aware of what's going on, but I'm not reading into it as much, which is something that I used to do. Like, that was like the paranoia, like after the lightning accident, for sure. I just read everything. And so just being aware of what I'm consuming, sending my prayers where I can, but also knowing that those things are all coming up. All this stuff that's coming up in the world right now is coming up to be transmuted and healed. And so while it's very like tough, like the recent news that's been going on, I can't feed into it. Like, I have to focus more on being that love and focus more on loving those people that are the victims, and helping them feel victorious.
Then what's coming to me is a vessel of light.
Yeah. You can't be that vessel of light if you're not allowing yourself to be your fullest self.
Beautiful. Yeah. If there's anyone out there listening who is struggling to be their full selves, what would you say to him or her?
The struggle isn't real. You have the choice. You have the choice with your actions. Start looking into your daily actions and what you're doing. Like, are you actually like doing things that bring you joy? Are you actually doing things that make you feel whole? Are you actually living your dreams? Like, are you living them out? Or are you working towards like achieving them? Like, what are your wildest dreams? And what's the story you've been telling yourself that's been stopping you from achieving those dreams?
Yes. Fierce medicine and needed.
Yeah, for sure. I'm like, the lioness is back in me is what it feels like.
Yeah.
So I want to just like, instead of hitting them with like anger and things like that, like hit them with love. Like, it's like that tough love, but that tough love is when we start to shift.
Yes. And is that how you held yourself kind of in the way as you were awakening, of just giving yourself those kinds of questions?
Yeah, totally. The biggest thing is like, go back to that intention. What is that focused intention? Why are you wanting to have this or do this? Like, what is the outcome that you wish to see once you achieve it? And for me, it was like, I wanted to be a change maker. Like, I know I've always been told that like I've had a very strong presence or like powerhouse or whatever. And so why not use that to make change by empowering other people that they can do it themselves? Like, they have the power to do it. Like, stop playing small. Because I've played small for so long when I was like stuck in that paranoia and the schizophrenia and all of that kind of stuff. That's why I had it like, and I had to take the drastic step and the measures that I had to heal myself. I went all the way to Brazil to go see John of God. And that was my intention, was to just really honor my grievances. And the other thing that really helped me out too was, of course, Miracles. Like that book really shifted a lot for me. And I would never really suggest anyone to do a 3-year sabbatical unless you really feel like you have to do it. For me, that's what I had to do. But this is like, there's so many tools and people and, podcasts and things like that you can listen to every day that can help you awaken. Using this transmission, this voice, is allowing you to remember who you are at your innate truth.
The time is right now. We have so much available to us, even just 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't like this,
Oh, even 5 years ago, it wasn't like this, or even 3 years ago.
Yeah.
We're moving at like rapid rates right now.
Yeah, it's true. And that's why the self-care is so important.
Crucial. It's crucial.
Yeah.
Because you're worthy of it too. A lot of people don't think they're worthy of like, oh, I'm not worthy to like go and take a bath or go get that massage or like that's part of the lack mentality and the fear that you have that like you're not enough.
Mm.
But like if you're like for me, like, and I was in a car accident, so I need to go to the chiropractor. I need to go get massages for my back, for my health. Like our health needs to be a top thing. Now we have like all these documentaries and stuff coming out that are helping people shift too. So I think it's just about reclaiming your body, because essentially your soul is forever, but your body is only here for less than 100 years, maybe longer. Maybe we can biohack and live longer now. Who knows? Like that'll be a mystery, but still this is your body's journey. So you need to take the time to honor your body.
Mm-hmm. And that is so much to the teachings of Mary Magdalene. It's like your body, your emotions, your sexuality, these like really coming into these practices. And that's the feminine too, I think, restoring balance in our culture, coming back to our bodies. Yeah.
Yeah. And to be okay with the way our body looks right now, and then be able to be like, if you're not liking the way your body looks, what are the steps that you need to do to feel good in your skin?
Mm-hmm. I'm curious about what's coming, what's happening in your business right now. What are you excited about?
So I took a little break, a little hiatus from the podcast. So I have you coming on too soon. I'm really excited about more podcast episodes. I'm putting together some new programs, and possibly a book. It's so funny because I'm talking to you today, and then my girlfriend Sahara Rose and Cassandra Bodsack are staying at my house this weekend because we're all going to Bhakti Fest, and they also wrote a book. Wow. They both wrote books, and so I've had this book written for a while, like 7 years, 5 years. I've had this book written for 5 years now that I have, and it's just like getting to it. So for me, the best thing that I'm really excited about being in Joshua Tree, and something that I'm super passionate about too, that's been really coming up for me, is that I want to be volunteering more through my business to help the vets and to support the vets, by offering Kundalini yoga and sound medicine, because the Marine base is the next town over. So that's something that I'm really wanting to do too, in terms of giving back. So to me, it's finding that balance of giving back, honoring myself, getting these new programs. I want to do more group work. I think that's where I really do really well with like being and doing group work. I have some possibly retreats coming up. Possibilities are endless right now. I'm just working on like staying present and getting things in line. But I'm really excited to share more about like spiritual tools, like helping you have your spiritual toolkit. And so that's what I'm really putting together, because there's so much medicine around us. And the way we live, the way our homes are set up, our altar spaces, plants, animals, books, essential oils, like all of these, like there's so many tools for us, breath, yoga, that we can really use, because again, this is the time to stop playing small. Like this is our time to really rise up, and this is our time to really shine and to live our elevated selves, because this is why we signed up to be on this planet right now. And then with the advancement of technology and all these things, we can share that and help uplift together. So a lot more community driven stuff. I also have the Shamanessa Goddessa ceremony shop. So have like a lot of my smokeless smudge sprays that I have, and also my Palo Santo and sage bundles. So I might want to be adding more to that soon. I have these ideas. I say like, all right, God, I'm giving them up to you. You tell me which one's the next step to do. And then it really unfolds. But I'm really feeling a lot of this group work and the book. Like, I think those two are really top of my list. And of course the podcast, because I love talking. So what happens when your sun and moon is in Mercury?
Tell us just a little bit about what the book will be.
Oh my God. I have like 3 of them, it feels like. No. A part of me wants to share my story more. It was really interesting. When I was moving, and I found all of my journals that I wrote during my 5 years, and just opening it up, it was like, whoo, this is heavy. So I'm still getting the clarity as to how to, or what to present. I know they say, like, I want to be able to, like, also have like some tools. I don't know yet. There's a lot that can happen. Like, that's been really, that's what's folding, and like, that's what's really like forming shape right now. I have a lot of content to like, to take from what I've written and what I've studied and what I've researched. So it will flow when it's supposed to flow, for sure. But I feel like it's going to be one of those things that I just knock out. Like, I have all the content, so I feel like I'm just going to knock it out in like a couple days. Like, that's just what happens with me. It's just going to be like, so right now it's still a full moon, and I just got it in Mercury retrograde. So that is still, like, I feel like it may come through with an upcoming new moon or something, setting the intention, or I don't know. Like, God knows that, like, when I'm ready to like sit down and do it, it's going to come through, and it's just going to be channeled. Wow. So you know how that goes.
Yeah. And I can share, just because of my book it's quite personal, and getting to the space to go back into some of those memories and relive them in a new way and gain new perspective. It was very healing.
Yeah.
I think I really do wish that for people, if they feel the calling to write their story, to do it and listen to it, even if it's just for yourself. Like,
yeah, because I have it written for me. Like, I've been writing it in a beautiful, like, leather bound journal that I've had, and but then putting it into the pieces and stuff like that. So I think once I figure out the structure, and once the structure flows through me, then it's like game changer like that. Then it's just like, all right, let's do this. Because like I said, I've got like so many journals of content and journal writing, and you know, I would love to be able to give people practical tools too throughout the book. Make it personal, but also give tools. Just so that they don't have to go through what I went through, because I would never want anyone to do that. And so, like, oh, I can give you this Kundalini meditation for 3 minutes and you can start shifting this. So
that's a cool idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Applicable to everyone.
Yeah, right? Because it's like we're all one. We're all part of this together. So if I've gone through it, like, I'm more than willing to share how not to do it. Because sometimes it was just rough. So I would never want it. I would never wish that upon anyone.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious if you have just any closing words for us, anything you'd like to leave us with today, and then I'll end our call with a little prayer.
Yeah. The best thing I can do is to just really be gentle with yourself and really slow down, and to trust in divine timing. Sometimes we think that things are going to happen at this certain time, and then they don't, and then we beat ourselves up. And what I can say to you is that it is far greater than any expectation you have or any dream that you have. Like, it's always greater. Like, we have the dreams, but it always unfolds. It's just awe-inspiring when it does unfold. And so to just really allow yourself to surrender by slowing down, returning to the breath. And I'm really passionate about cultivating a daily practice. And that's something that I've been, I'm really, that's one of the services that I'm really focusing on right now too, is offering people, like, let's doing like a coaching call, then giving them like a meditation to do for the next 40 days. And then like crystals and things like that to work with to really support you, because essentially it's in our hands. Like our lives are in our hands, and we have every right to take care of our needs, to take care of ourselves, as long as they are not harming or harming others, especially ourselves. And the self-talk that's really full of doubt and the insecurities and who am I, those conversations, like those need to end. Like we have been so blessed with this recent eclipse and this blessing that was just like a reset, this balance of the masculine and feminine, where they were finally able to meet as equals to make love and to be right, show us that divine masculine, that divine feminine within us that is here to make love. But we have to see them and honor them both for what they are, and to just really just slow down and enjoy this life. Like technology makes us go, go, go and everything instant, but we need to find that flow, that grace, that breath. And it starts by cultivating that within ourselves each and every day.
Aho.
Aho.
Thank you. Let's just close our eyes and breathe that in. And trust in the divine timing. Just feel that resonate in your body, in your breath. It's okay to be exactly where you are in this moment. Asking yourself what is really truly important. What are the dreams you're holding? What are the things that you want to do in your life? How do you want to live each day? And then trusting and believing that every moment is our choice. We have those choices to do what we love, to be in our joy. We're empowered, we're sovereign, opening, we're supported, so supported. So I bring my hands to my heart, just bowing with gratitude for Sabrina, for sharing her wisdom with us. And bowing to all of you listening, all of you doing your own inner work, being on this path. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thanks so much for taking the time to listen to our show today. We would love to hear what you think. Take a moment to hop on over to iTunes and leave us a review. We'd be so grateful to receive it. Until next time, namaste.